Welcome back to the shop. Today I'm going to show you how to forge a very useful tool for a variety of crafts, and specifically leather craft. You can buy an X-Acto style knife that is used in leather work, and it's a solid blade, and so I thought, why not just make one? The blade design in this is going to be a single bevel, and it needs to be sharp and it needs to be tough. A good option for this is 1095 high carbon steel. I want to be able to strop the edge and bring it back relatively easily, and so I think this is going to be a good choice. I have our chunk of 1095 high carbon steel heating up in the forge, and the first thing I'm going to do is start drawing it down because I'm going to make a one-piece forged knife, and with a little hammer work and some careful planning, I think we can make a very attractive, comfortable, functional blade. Now keep in mind, everything I'm doing here with the press can be done with a hammer just as well. Just takes a little longer and a little more energy, but don't let that stop you from getting out there and forging. I have about 7 inches drawn out here. This stock is 1/4 inch by 1 1/4, so what I have here is closer to 3/8 thick by 7/16 inch wide. Let me show you what I have so far. Obviously I have a lot of profiling and shaping to do where the blade is going to be. I purposely left quite a bit of material on that to protect against decarburization and scale because we do have to do several more heat treating applications to this. This little deal here is kind of cool, but it also gives a bit of a catch for your finger as you're holding the tool and drawing it through the leather, so I think that's going to be a nice little feature when you're using this. So while the blade is heating up for the normalizing cycle, let's talk a little bit about what that is, because I like metallurgy. So normalizing might be one of the least understood steps in the heat treatment process, and it's important for multiple reasons. It's commonly understood that it relieves stress to the internal structure of the steel, and that's true. But it also does something even more important perhaps, which is readjust the grain size. After you forge a blade, you will commonly have multiple different grain sizes within the same structure, and this is bad. It also disallows the steel to move to the next stage very well. So we're heating this up to 1600 degrees, going to let it cool and still air. That's going to reset a lot of things. So now that I've done the initial normalizing cycle on this piece of steel, I'm doing some additional cycles on graduating lower temperatures to further refine the grain now that we have sort of a homogeneous state in the steel that we want. Alright, now that we've completed our normalizing, our grain refinement, the next thing we need to do is rough grind this. And I kind of made a mistake forging. I envisioned a different blade design than what I actually need to make. So I had to go back and look at the knife design that I'm sort of emulating. And what I actually need to do is sort of grind an angle blade that looks something like that. And so this little bit that I forged in here is not going to be at all what we do, but that's okay. Okay, now that we have this rough ground, we can harden the blade and then temper it so it makes a good, tough blade. I have this roughed in. There's a little more refining to do still, but yeah, this is kind of a neat little single bevel blade right here, and I had to clean up the backside, of course, and the spine a little bit so we get some good sharp angles on this. There will be more to do once the blade is hardened and tempered. Alright, so we got a good quench on this. You can see that I ground up further on the bevel side. The reason for that was to get this down a little thinner, only because 1095 is a shallow hardening steel, and so I want the longer portion of this blade to be hardened through. Okay, so we got this out of the second tempering cycle. Our hand-forged leather knife is finished. You may have noticed that I tanted off the very tip of this, and that is because very, very fine points are by nature weak, no matter what kind of steel you might use. And so this is going to be a lot stronger, and it still has a nice 90-degree angle right at the point there that helps as you draw your knife through your material. Thanks for coming along on this build. I know I had fun making it, so hopefully you had fun watching it as well, and maybe even got some ideas for your shop. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notifications button, and as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.